Have you ever noticed how much noise there is? Not just the noise around us, but the pressure to add to it. We're told to speak up, to lean in, to make sure our voice is heard. And while using your voice is vital, there's another, deeply underestimated strength that often gets lost in all that sound. What if one of the most powerful things a woman can do is to consciously and intentionally choose to say nothing at all? We're so conditioned to see silence as a void, as a sign of weakness, compliance, or having nothing to say. But what if I told you that's a complete misunderstanding? What if the opposite is true? Now, let me be perfectly clear. This is not about being silenced. This is not about oppression or shrinking yourself out of fear. That is the opposite of power. What we're talking about is the profound difference between being silenced and choosing silence. One is done to you. The other is a strategy you deploy from a place of strength. And that choice, that is a hidden superpower. So what is this hidden power? It's the power of a cultivated inner space, a quiet center amidst the storm that allows for three key things to flourish. The first, and perhaps most transformative, is the power of observation and discernment. When you release the pressure to constantly contribute, to have a witty remark or an immediate opinion, you unlock a higher level of awareness. Your energy shifts from broadcasting to receiving. You become a collector of invaluable information. You start to notice the subtle details that others miss in their haste to be heard. The slight shift in body language that contradicts someone's confident words. The micro-expressions that flash across a face revealing true feeling. The underlying group dynamics and unspoken alliances in a room. This isn't about being passive. It's about being an active, engaged listener to the world beyond words. In this state, you are gathering strategic intelligence. You are learning the true map of the territory before you even decide which path to take. It's a simple but profound truth. You cannot read the room if you are the loudest one in it. By choosing silence, you give yourself the gift of context, allowing you to understand situations and people with a clarity that constant talking simply cannot afford. This leads us to the second pillar, the power of composure and unshakable confidence. In a culture that often mistakes loudness for strength, a woman who can remain silent and centered projects an aura of true authority. This kind of silence is not empty. It is full of presence. It communicates a deep sense of self-containment, that your worth and validation are not for public consumption and do not require a running commentary to be affirmed. Think about a time someone tried to provoke you, to get a rise out of you. The natural, reactive impulse is to defend, to explain, to counterattack with words. But when you consciously choose not to play that game, when you meet their chaos with your calm, you completely disarm them. Your peace becomes your power. That calmness is a silent declaration of your own authority. It communicates, without a single word, that your emotional state is your own sovereign territory and that your peace is not theirs to disrupt. This composure builds a reputation of someone who is grounded, who cannot be easily manipulated, and whose eventual words, precisely because they are not spilled out recklessly, carry immense weight. And that brings us to the third and final pillar, the power of intentional speech. When you are no longer in the habit of spending your words on every passing thought or emotional reaction, you begin to conserve a tremendous amount of mental and emotional energy. Your speech is no longer a leaky faucet, but a reserved well of pure, clear water. This conservation means that when you do decide to speak, your words are not diluted by the trivial. They are considered, precise, and impactful. You stop speaking just to fill the space and start speaking to change it. Whether it's setting a firm boundary without needing a long justification, delivering a key point in a meeting that cuts to the heart of the matter, or offering comfort with a simple, profound phrase, your words land with greater force because they are rare. They have been filtered through the sieves of observation and composure. Let your words be like rare gems, valuable precisely because they are not scattered everywhere. This intentionality transforms communication from a game of quantity into one of quality, ensuring that when you use your voice, people have no choice but to lean in and listen. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually translate this concept of powerful silence into your everyday life? It's about turning a philosophy into a practice, and it can be applied in some of the most common, yet challenging, scenarios we face. Let's start with conflict. When you're in a heated discussion, the instinct is to retaliate immediately, to defend your position the moment the other person finishes speaking. This creates a reactive loop where no one is truly listening. The practice here is to insert a deliberate pause. When a provoking comment is thrown your way, instead of catching it and throwing it back, just let it hang in the air for a moment. Take a conscious breath. This single act does two powerful things. First, it gives you a crucial second to disconnect from your emotional amygdala and access your logical prefrontal cortex, allowing you to respond from a place of choice rather than impulse. Second, it breaks the predictable rhythm of the argument. It disarms the other person, who is expecting a counterattack, and it instantly shifts the dynamic, putting you in control of the tempo. Your silence here is not acceptance. It is a strategic regrouping. This same principle of strategic listening is incredibly effective in negotiations and meetings. The common mistake is to feel the need to speak early and often to prove our value and intelligence. The more powerful approach is to listen more than you speak. Let others present their ideas, their offers, their strategies first. Your attentive silence creates a space that people often feel compelled to fill, and in doing so, they frequently reveal more than they intended. Their true priorities, their weaknesses, their bottom line. You become the person who, after listening to everyone, synthesizes the key points and asks the pivotal question, or makes the most reasoned suggestion. Your contributions carry more weight because they are informed by the full picture that you alone took the time to quietly assemble. Perhaps one of the most liberating applications is in setting boundaries. We are often taught that we need long, logical explanations to justify our limits. This is a trap. Over-explaining opens your boundary up for debate. The practice of powerful silence here involves stating your limit clearly and calmly. A simple "no, I can't take that on," or "I'm not comfortable with that," and then letting your words stand without a barrage of justification. The silence that follows your statement is what solidifies it. It absorbs the statement and makes it real. It gives the other person room to sit with your boundary, and it denies them the opportunity to argue against your reasons. Your quiet composure after speaking demonstrates that the matter is not up for discussion. The boundary is a statement of fact, not the opening of a negotiation. Finally, none of this is possible without cultivating the source, your own personal peace. The external composure you project must be built upon a foundation of internal quiet. This means actively creating spaces of silence in your life. It could be a 5-minute meditation in the morning, a walk in nature without headphones, or a designated digital detox where you silence the constant pings of the outside world. This isn't just self-care, it is core training. It's how you strengthen your ability to access that quiet center during conflict, negotiation, or any other pressure-filled situation. Protecting your inner quiet is the non-negotiable practice that makes all the other applications not just possible, but sustainable. As we embrace this concept, it is absolutely vital to draw a clear and non-negotiable line between two types of silence that may look similar on the surface, but are worlds apart in their origin and effect. On one side, there is toxic silence. This is the silence of suppression, born from fear, obligation, or a sense of powerlessness. It is the act of swallowing your truth to keep the peace, of avoiding necessary conflict because you dread the confrontation, or of staying in situations, whether in a relationship, a friendship, or a workplace, that diminish your spirit or cause you harm. This silence is a cage. It corrodes your self-worth and is a symptom of disempowerment. This is not what we are discussing, and it is a pattern that must be recognized and courageously overcome. The empowered silence we have been exploring is its polar opposite. It is not born from fear, but from strength. It is not about suppression, but about conscious choice. This is a silence you actively deploy as a strategy, not one you passively fall into out of helplessness. You are not avoiding conflict. You are choosing a more effective way to navigate it. You are not suppressing your voice. You are curating it with immense intention. This silence is a tool you wield to protect your energy, to gain invaluable insight, and to ensure that when you do speak, your words carry the full weight of your conviction and intelligence. It is the difference between feeling you have no voice and knowing you have the power to decide when and how to use it for maximum impact. So, let me leave you with this final thought. Your voice is your birthright. It is powerful, it is necessary, and it deserves to be heard. Use it. Advocate for yourself and for others. Speak your truth. But remember, a master architect does not build without a blueprint. She understands that the most magnificent structures are first conceived and refined in the quiet space of planning and vision. Your silence is that blueprint. It is the fertile ground of observation, the workshop where composure is forged, and the space where your most powerful, impactful, and authentic words are born. So the next time you feel that internal pressure to fill a room with sound, to immediately justify your position, or to meet noise with more noise, I want you to remember the hidden power you hold within. Remember the strength found in stillness. Recall the power to observe and truly see what others miss in their haste. The power to compose yourself, making your calm a fortress. And the power to choose your words not out of impulse, but with devastating precision. When you master that balance, the world won't just hear you, it will have no choice but to lean in and truly listen. Now, I want to hear from you. This is a nuanced practice, and we can all learn from each other's experiences. Have you ever consciously used silence as a strategy, whether in a meeting, a difficult conversation, or just to protect your own peace? What was the result? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one because this is a conversation. If this idea of quiet power resonated with you and you're interested in cultivating more of it, then this channel is your space. If you found this valuable, please give the video a like and subscribe for more content dedicated to personal power and inner growth. And for those of you ready to take the next step, what we've discussed today is the foundation. The next logical step is learning how to protect this newfound composure. In my next video, we'll talk about how to turn this quiet confidence into unshakable boundaries. It's the essential skill for making sure your peace and your power are respected. I'll see you there.